welcome to the video. I'm here to tell you about a brand new product that we're offering at Astranti called the Objective Test video series. So in this video, I'll be introducing you to exactly what the Objective Test video series is, and importantly, why it's going to be useful for you in the preparation for your exams. So what is a objective test video? Well, basically it's going to be a set, or it is a set of 100 exam style questions that we've produced at Astranti. And what we've done is we've made a 5 to 10 minute long video for every single question, for all 100 questions, explaining exactly how to answer the question. Okay, so it's a full debrief. We go through the particular syllabus reference, so how it relates the question specifically to the syllabus, the indicative syllabus content that it is covering, and then we talk about exactly how to answer the question, so how to apply the knowledge that you have learnt in your studies to actually answering exam questions. We give you tips and advice, approaches for answering questions, and the different types of questions that you might get and the different approaches you may need to take to that. So, as I say, it's 100 questions for the entire set, and it's broken down into chapters. So you can use this alongside the study text or the tuition videos because the chapters are consistent across all the different products. Okay, and as I've already mentioned, it's based on the representative task statement. So when you're studying for this exam, all of the content that we provide is based on the CIMA syllabus. And we're just showing you and assuring you that every single question that we look at relates directly to the CIMA syllabus and in some way helps you in preparing for that aspect of the syllabus and ultimately preparing for your exam. Okay, now just before we take a look at a sample question, I'll run through a sample question with you in a second. Just want to outline 3 of my top tips for approaching F3 questions in my experience. So first of all, you're now expected to analyze and evaluate. Now perhaps at F1, and if you cast your mind back, you can just about remember F1 and F2. There was perhaps a bit of analysis at F2, but it was a lot of application. Well, at F3, you're stepping up from that and you have to analyze and evaluate different options within the finance function. Okay, so you're stepping up and you not only have to understand how things work, you have to do the calculations, of course, and we'll look at that in a moment, but you have to look at different options and analyze them and oftentimes evaluate them, coming up with the best option. And maybe there'll be 3 or 4, 5 different options that are presented to you in the question. All of them are possible, but you have to pick the one that is the most appropriate for that particular scenario. Okay, so you're bringing a bit of wisdom and background understanding and perhaps industry understanding to the questions. And it goes without saying really, but this is important, that you need a very good understanding of finance. Okay, now I know F3 follows on from F1 and F2, which is financial reporting. But at F3, as you'll know from studying the syllabus, it's a broader scope. It's not just financial reporting anymore. You're dealing with financial strategy, you're dealing with risk and derivatives and all those kind of considerations. So in order to do that well, you need a good understanding of finance and all the topics that relate to that, how to raise funds, how to engage in investments, what instruments can be used to mitigate risk and to engage in hedging, how to value companies, etc., etc. So slightly wider scope than you would have had at F2 or at F1. And then finally, of course, there will be lots of calculations. It is finance after all, and maths is a very important part of that. And you're going to get calculations in lots of different areas too. So whether it's calculating capital or calculations relating to the capital structure and the different ways of having capital structure and the impact on key ratios like weighted average cost of capital or the cost of equity, etc. And some key theories actually behind capital structure such as Modigliani and Miller. Financial risk, obviously, and other risks associated with the finance function and the different options and instruments that are utilized to mitigate that risk. There are obviously calculations involved in business valuations and, of course, financing and investment decisions. Calculations come up in all of those key areas, and you're just going to get a lot of calculations in this exam. And that's not the case for every exam that you'll sit under CIMA. So it's good to have that in your mind as you go into it. So let's take a look at a sample question now. Okay, before we get into the question, it's worth just recapping those 3 tips that I just talked about. Now here we're going to have to, of course, perform a calculation, but in order to get the question right, we, in addition to that, need to have a good understanding of finance and different financial instruments, but also we need to be able to evaluate the options. So here we need to pick the best possible option for the scenario. Moving on to question 3, we are still with currency hedging techniques. The syllabus reference, the same as the last one, so it's to evaluate the operations and features of more common instruments for managing currency risks. Okay, and so let's take a look at our question then. Which one of the following is the best combination for a soon? Exercise the put option and lapse the call option. Exercise the call option and lapse the put option. Exercise both or lapse both. So we're dealing here with call and put options, aren't we? So let's take a look at the question, because we can't figure anything out from this unless we look at the details. So a soon holds the following options at their expiry date. So we're at the date of expiration. So we need to decide whether to basically exercise these or whether to let them lapse based on the fact that we're now at the expiry date. So we have a call option and we have a put option, and obviously we need to know the difference between a call and a put option. So a call option is what? Well, a call option gives the holder of the option the right but not the obligation to buy at the exercise price stated in the question under the conditions given in the option. A put is the opposite, so it gives the holder, well, I don't know whether that's the opposite or not, but it gives the holder the right, but again, not the obligation to sell. So the call option, the company has a call option on £880,000 in exchange for dollars at an exercise price. So the exercise price is the price that's given in the option of £1 to $1.54. The exchange rate at the expiry date, which is where we are now, is £1 to $1.60. Sorry. Okay, so we're saying that in the call option, the holder has the right to buy £880,000, okay, in dollars. So it's going to be paying in dollars to acquire £880,000 at whatever exchange rate is the best. If it's the exercise price is the best rate, then we would exercise the option. Otherwise, we would let it lapse. The put option is on £220,000 in exchange for euros at an exercise price of €1 to 88 pence. The exchange rate at the expiry date, which is where we are now, is €1 to 85 pence, and the amount is 220. So in this case, we're saying that the put option gives the holder the right to sell £220,000 for some amount in euros. So in the second case, they want to get as many euros as they can for this amount that they have. In the first case, they want to pay as little as they can in dollars to buy this much in pound sterling. Let's just write out a grid. So we've got the call option. And remember, that is to buy. So this will be the cost. This will be an outflow. And then we have a put option. And that is to sell. So that will be a cash inflow. So first of all, let's look at the exercise price. Okay, and we'll do EXC for that. So the C is the important thing. So the exercise price is going to be the amount that they are going to buy divided times by the exercise price rate. So it's going to be £880,000 times, because we're translating it from pounds to dollars, and that's just the way that the exchange rates are in this case, times 1.54 gives this a value of $1,355,200. So that's at the exercise price. Let's now look at the expiry. So the date at expiry, which is where we are now, the expiration date, and the expiration date, the exchange rate is £1 to $1.6. Okay, so we would do same concept, 880,000 times by 1.6 in this case, and that's going to give us a value of 1,408,000. Now remember, this is the call option, this is the right to buy. They're buying £880,000 in dollars. So if you want to buy this much and you're paying for it in dollars, you want to pay the cheapest price you can for that in dollars, and the cheapest price is this here. So we would decide to exercise the call option. That would be the best option. Otherwise, if we let it lapse, we would end up paying more because the exchange rate isn't as good. Similar principle for the put, but everything's kind of the other way around. So for the put option, it's 220,000. And we need to exchange that at the exercise price, which is €1 to 88 pence. Well, we're given it in pounds. So in order to translate that to euros, we need to divide by 0.88. And that'll give us, in euros, 250,000 euros. Okay, and if we let the put option expire, it would be £220,000 divided by the expiration date exchange rate of 0.85. That gives us in euros €258,824. Now, in this case, we're looking to sell. So if we're going to sell £220,000, we want to get as many euros as we can for it. And so the best option is going to be this option here, because this gives us the most euros. So in this case, we would choose to let the put option lapse because there's a better rate at the expiration date than there is in the exercise price. So the correct option is to to exercise the call option and let the put option lapse. So that is exercise the call option and lapse the put option. So option B is the correct answer. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. That's what the objective question debrief video series is going to look like. Now, at the F3 level, our objective test videos, for F3, we have got 23 full chapters. Okay, so the 100 questions are spread out across those 23 chapters. So there's around four questions per chapter. Sometimes there's 5, depending on the chapter. And if you head over to Astranti.com and you create an account and you sign up with us, you'll get the first 3 chapters completely for free. So you don't have to pay a penny to see what these are like. You've already seen what they're like in the video just now, but you can have a go. You can look and watch the first 3 chapters for free to see if you really like this product. Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you for watching this video. We really believe that we've got a good product here and we've designed this specifically to help you pass your exams. So do go to the website and check out those 3 free chapters.